Quotes by Galileo Galilei. We cannot teach people anything. We can only help them discover it within themselves. This quote is attributed to the Italian scientist and mathematician Galileo Galilei. In simple terms, Galileo is expressing the idea that true learning doesn't come from just imparting knowledge onto someone else. Instead, it involves guiding individuals to uncover knowledge and understanding from within themselves. Essentially, he's saying that as teachers or guides, our role is not to force-feed information, but rather to facilitate a process where individuals can discover knowledge and insights on their own. Measure what is measurable, and make measurable what is not so. Galileo is essentially saying that we should quantify or measure whatever is possible to measure. And for those things that aren't immediately measurable, we should strive to find ways to make them measurable. It's a call to apply scientific principles to understand and quantify the world around us as much as possible, even if it requires ingenuity and innovation to measure things that might not seem easily quantifiable at first. Essentially, it's about pushing the boundaries of what we can understand and measure through scientific inquiry and innovation. If I were again beginning my studies, I would follow the advice of Plato and start with mathematics. In plain English, Galileo is expressing the idea that he would prioritize mathematics if he were to begin his studies anew. This suggests that he sees mathematics as a fundamental and essential discipline that lays the groundwork for understanding other subjects more thoroughly. By starting with mathematics, one can develop critical thinking skills and a solid foundation upon which to build knowledge in various fields. In questions of science, the authority of 1,000 is not worth the humble reasoning of a single individual. Galileo is emphasizing the importance of individual reasoning and critical thinking in matters of science. He's suggesting that the collective opinion or authority of many people is not as valuable as the thoughtful, independent reasoning of a single individual. Essentially, he's advocating for the primacy of logic, evidence, and individual inquiry over blindly accepting the consensus or authority of others in scientific matters. And yet it moves. The quote is famously attributed to Galileo Galilei. It is said to have been uttered by him after being forced to recant his support for the heliocentric model of the solar system by the Catholic Church during the Inquisition. In plain English, this quote is often interpreted as a defiant statement of truth in the face of opposition. It implies that despite being compelled to deny his belief in the Earth's motion around the Sun, Galileo remained steadfast in his conviction that the Earth does indeed move. It symbolizes his unwavering commitment to scientific truth and the pursuit of knowledge, even in the face of adversity and censorship. Where the senses fail us, reason must step in. In simple terms, Galileo is expressing the idea that when our senses, such as sight or touch, are unable to provide us with accurate information or understanding, we must rely on reason or logic to make sense of the situation. Essentially, he's highlighting the importance of using our intellect and critical thinking skills to navigate situations where our senses alone may not be sufficient to comprehend what's happening. It underscores the significance of rational thought and analysis in understanding the world around us. Who would set a limit to the mind of man? Who would dare assert that we know all there is to be known? Galileo is challenging the idea of placing restrictions on human knowledge and understanding. He's essentially saying it's unreasonable and arrogant to claim that we've already discovered everything there is to know. Instead, he encourages a continuous exploration and pursuit of knowledge. recognizing the limitless potential of the human mind to uncover new truths and expand our understanding of the world. I think that in the discussion of natural problems, we ought to begin not with the scriptures, but with experiments and demonstrations. In plain English, Galileo is advocating for a scientific approach to understanding natural phenomena. He suggests that instead of relying solely on religious texts, like the scriptures to answer questions about the natural world, we should begin with experiments and demonstrations. Essentially, he's promoting the idea of using observation, experimentation, and empirical evidence as the basis for understanding the workings of nature, rather than relying solely on religious or philosophical doctrines. This reflects his belief in the importance of empirical evidence and the scientific method in uncovering truths about the natural world. We must say that there are as many squares as there are numbers. In plain English, Galileo is expressing a mathematical concept regarding the nature of infinity. In the context of this quote, he's referring to the fact that there is an infinite number of whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and also an infinite number of perfect squares 1, 4, 9, 16. Despite both sequences being infinite, they still possess a one-to-one correspondence, meaning that each whole number can be paired with a unique perfect square. This illustrates the concept that some infinities can be the same size as others, despite both being infinite. It's a fundamental idea in mathematics that challenges common intuitions about infinity. He who looks the higher is the more highly distinguished, and turning over the great book of nature, which is the proper object of philosophy, is the way to elevate one's gaze. Galileo is suggesting that those who seek to understand the deeper truths of the universe are more esteemed. He compares the act of exploring nature, which he considers the proper subject of philosophy, to turning over the great book of nature. By doing so, one can raise their perspective and gain a deeper understanding of the world. Essentially, he's advocating for the pursuit of knowledge and understanding through the study of nature, implying that this is the path to intellectual enlightenment and recognition. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your friends.